You guys ever watch a movie that is so freaking weird, all you can do is sit there afterwards dumbfounded and say, well, that was a thing? If you are into those type of films, you are in luck today because this movie is one of the weirdest horror films. So Wounded Fawn is directed by Travis Stevens and it stars Josh Rubin, Sarah Lind, and it is a Shudder exclusive. Now this is not a brand new movie, it came out a couple of years ago, but I wanted to review it because I think this movie is such a weird film to talk about and because I think it's one of their better exclusives. It's on a good bit on the streaming channels, and I think a lot of people have probably heard of this movie even if they've not seen it. Also, fun fact, Josh Rubin, the guy who is in this playing Bruce, he's the guy who directed Hard Eyes, a movie I loved, and I did not know that. I did not know that guy was an actor, and now I'm just going to see this guy everywhere as this like oddly comedic guy. So just kind of a fun fact if you also love Hard Eyes like me. But as for the movie, it follows two main characters, Bruce and Meredith. They're going to eventually find themselves in a pickle together, but when the movie opens up, you find out Bruce, kind of this snobby, pretentious art guy. You also find out Meredith, she's kind of getting over this toxic relationship. You don't know exactly what it is, maybe abusive, but she falls for, or just has the hots for this guy named Bruce. They're going to go up north together, and she's really looking forward to a romantic getaway. She wants to meet a new man, wants to get laid. You can understand it, trying to turn the next chapter. But in the opening scene, we find out Bruce, he is this art guy. He's at this auction. He's in a bidding war. He loses, and then he ends up going to the woman's house, killing her, and we are introduced to this weird mythological movie where this guy is a serial killer who kills almost in the satanic mythological way. As I'm going to get into, I'm going to give you a little bit of my explanation, but yeah, this is a weird freaking movie. Let me start off with what I really enjoy about this film, though. I think this is a gorgeous looking movie. I didn't look it up, but it feels like it's on old school film. If not, they have a great filter going here. It kind of feels like an homage in a weird way to those old school grindhouse 70s, 80s films. Kind of has the aesthetic of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. Colorful film, very vibrant, almost felt like a giallo at points, the way it was filmed, the very old school one, 60s, 70s. It's just a gorgeous looking movie. It has an awesome score as well, has some good music. Some of the foreshadowing done with music is pretty creative as well. So again, if you're somebody who loves artistic horror, you love art house horror, you like just beautiful looking films, you just like movies filmed on film, keep this one in your repertoire because this one is one of the better, more creatively like colorful versions of a horror film. Also think the performances here are very good from Josh Rubin and Sarah Lind. Now again, I wasn't even familiar with Josh Rubin as an actor up until a couple of years ago. I mean, I knew who he was from this film, but I didn't know he was the guy who directed Hard Eyes. In the past week as well, I watched another movie with him called Scare Me, which I also really enjoyed. So maybe this guy just gets me when it comes to the comedic timing thing. And I think he is very good at playing this pretentious, kind of maniacal serial killer who's not full-time crazy, but he is kind of weirdly offbeat comedic at points. He kind of goes full mental at a certain point. He kind of illustrates it all, and I think he does a good job in this movie carrying the film as a lead up into an absolutely wild and bonkers second half. Now, Sarah Lind as Meredith is also very good. I recognized her from a couple of films, pretty recent. I think Die My Love, A Desert, absolute smoke show. I mean, I don't understand how anybody in any plot of any movie could plan on killing this woman. Please marry me already. Yeah, she's awesome in this film. She's playing a pretty layered character as well. She's not in the movie as long as I thought she was going to be. She's in the movie, I don't know, I want to say 2/3 of the film. She's not in it to the extent you'd think she would be based on the start of the film, as again, we're going to get into in just a minute. And finally, I just really enjoyed the buildup of this film. I thought the first half of this film, I talked to somebody in a comment section about this movie not too long ago. First half of this film, legitimately at like a 9.5 out of 10. This first half is fucking fantastic. I loved every second of it. It's an original story, well acted, well written. It's beautiful, it's colorful, it's gory. Oh yeah, that's another thing about this film. This film is not for the faint of heart. But you pair it all together, the first half of this film is wild. Like, it is just so good. It's so good, in fact, it's actually partially why I want to review the film. I want to let you guys know whether or not the second half of this movie and the conclusion and the whole meaning of the movie works for you is one thing. But the first half of this movie, to me, is legitimately so good, this movie is just worth watching in general. But then you get to the second half of this film, and it kind of goes full mental. It kind of starts to go very art house, very cerebral, because our main character gets hit on the head. And from that point on, we're not really sure what he's seeing, if it's hallucinations, if he's just idealizing the things he's seeing, but this movie becomes a absolutely fucking bonkers fever dream. Now again, I think there are pros and cons here when it comes to that. I think that makes this movie incredible incredibly memorable. Again, you will not have seen a movie second half like this. Probably because it feels like the director did a lot of drugs and threw darts on a dartboard when it came to making decisions, because I almost couldn't concretely tell you what the entire second half of this movie means. Now, I have an interpretation. I think the entire concept of this film is kind of this pretentious mess on purpose, poking fun at art culture. Because in the opening scene of this film, again, you have an art bid and you kind of get to know these characters are all pretentious snobs in their own way. And by making this movie, in a weird way, nonsensical on purpose, I feel like it does highlight how pretentious people can be who collect these valuables. And in a way, I can appreciate that, but I would be lying if I said this movie wasn't significantly worse in the second half. It's not boring by any means, even though I don't think it fully works. It is interesting because the shit you are seeing will make you feel like you ripped acid. Some of the stuff in this, it feels like you just watched film that was spliced from a completely different movie, which makes, again, for a memorable experience. And whether or not that works for you, I think, is just highly dependent on your tolerance for weird stuff. I am pretty vocal. I love weird movies. This movie is a movie that is so weird. It's almost in that category of like Sharknado, where they're just trying shit absolutely off the rails. Second half of the movie is super brutal, though. I will say that. The violence is great. Again, very colorful gore. The images here, very vibrant as well. A lot of mythological images, a lot of art-related scenes. A reveal of a character that is so asinine, you will definitely laugh out loud because you will say, what the fuck is that? So it all kind of plays out like this very silly, over-the-top, self-aware, dark comedy in a sense. There's absolutely no way the second half of this movie is meant to be taken seriously up into a conclusion when you get the most bizarre, laughable conclusion of like a credit sequence ever. It's like 5 minutes long and it just never ends. If you've seen the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. But again, it's another laugh out loud inducing moment. So just a weird movie to talk about because on one hand, I think there are elements of this film artistically, the way it's made, the way it's directed, the way it's performed, that are very, very good. It's just a very well-made movie. It's very creative, especially the first half, the buildup of this, when you're really tense about this relationship and is he going to kill her and how does this movie end up going? You're really bought into all that. I think this is just an exceptional horror film. Up until a point, this movie flips a switch, what I believe is purposeful, and just becomes, again, a very bonkers fever dream that is almost like you smoked the most crack imaginable. But overall, guys, I enjoy this film. I've seen it twice now. I watched it again the other night, and I just wanted to review it when it was fresh because I remember watching this years ago and thinking that was something. It would definitely make a list for my weirdest horror film. Overall, though, guys, I have a good time with this movie. It's not a perfect film. It's weird. It's out there. Again, it's meant to make you think. It's meant to elicit a response in you. I don't know. Share your thoughts down below. Let me know whether or not you've seen this film. Does it work for you? Is it good in the beginning? Do you not like any of it? Do you love all of it? Let me know all your thoughts down below. I'm very curious on the people who have seen this film, what you think of this bizarre mythological serial killer tale. As always, if you like this review, my name is Sean. Like, comment, subscribe, hype the video, join the channel down below. Become a channel member if you want to support me. And I'm going to put a link up here to both a horror movie list if you want other recommendations and some of my more recent 2026 reviews if you want to see any of my most recent thoughts. Other than that, guys, I'll see you in the next review.